Welcome to Staring into the Abyss. I'm your host, Richard Gerlach, and I just returned a little bit late for my newest meeting with Dr. Fawning. With me, as always, is Matt Brandenburg.
Yeah, I was digging in a trash can for something fun.
And Vitlame missed.
Yeah, I've been having a lot of weird dreams lately. I don't know why is that.
About wind chimes.
About wind chimes and a girl named Luna.
Oh, good old moths.
Today we're going to be discussing the sadly going out of print soon novella by Sarah Tantlinger, To Be Devoured, which we covered before in this podcast, but it's a really wonderful novella.
Yeah, we figured we would sort of give it a send-off, sort of give it a push that hope somebody picks it up maybe one day.
Yes.
Yeah, also push to our listeners who haven't bought it yet. This is your last chance to buy and read this wonderful story.
Seriously.
I had always wanted to read it, but then when Sarah tweeted it, it's going out of print soon, I immediately went to Amazon. I'm like, I'm buying this shit.
Yes. It's totally worth it. It's so much. It's a lot. It's fun. I'll put that. There's a lot more to it, but I had fun with it.
It's super gross, but oh, so fun.
Yeah. Just a hair bit gross.
Really gross. But you want to know something even grosser?
Oh, yes.
The first episode of the season 3 of The Boys for a media wrap-up.
Oh, man.
I've heard that the first episode is it's an opener.
That's one way to say it. So after season 2 of The Boys ends, I'll do this, no spoilers. Stormfront was revealed to be a Nazi, surprising absolutely nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And Homelander is now on a media apology tour for falling in love with a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
And it opens with a movie about what happened in last season called The Seven: Dawn of Justice. And they're making fun of the Snyder Cut from DC. Because they had to shoot the entire movie after she came out as a Nazi to make her a villain.
Oh, wow.
And they recasted her for the movie within the show, which Charlize Theron has a 60-second cameo as Stormfront in the movie.
What?
That
show
is amazing. She's just doing whatever she wants at this point.
As she should.
Yeah.
And Huey is now working with the government to try to control supers. Unknowingly to him that his director is bought by Vought, and she's also a super that can make people's heads explode. And she's hiding that power from Huey.
Shit.
That a very specific
Poor
superpower.
Huey. I mean, I know I love Huey in the show. I mean, he has the best intentions, but now you're like, shit.
You just feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, you feel bad for him. You're like, you're trying, man. I can see you're trying.
So it's part of the reason why I quit that show. It was just so annoying and whiny throughout every episode I watched. I just couldn't take it.
He's better in this season.
Okay.
I'll just say this. In the other seasons, he's trying to be like, there has to be a better way to fight the supers. Mm-hmm. And this season, he's like, there's only one way to do it, and it's Butcher's way.
Yeah.
It's not the government's way?
Not the government's way. It's Butcher's way.
Okay.
It's the Spice Girls way.
Yeah. so Huey's less whiny in this season than he was before.
Well, that's fair.
He's to understanding.
Yeah.
But first episode, Butcher has to answer to Huey now, because Huey works for the government. So they're going to a party full of soups, and Huey just wants them to do reconnaissance. No killing soups, no violence. And remember in season 1, they had a little thing of the hero that could grow small termite.
Yeah. He didn't go into a woman.
He went to a woman in season 1.
In season 1, yeah, I remember that.
Well, in this season, he enters a man's penis.
Oh God!
Of course he does.
And you see everything.
Oh. I don't need that.
Wow, that is a choice.
I wonder
Like,
where they got the footage. Did they just like go to a medical center? Like, do you have any footage of a camera entering a man's penis?
well, it's all set. So like, what it is he's doing lines of coke with this gay
Yeah,
guy,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
guy goes, "I want you inside me." And then he takes out his pants and termite shrinks really small and just walks inside the penis.
Oh my god.
And then he sneezes and grows really big and the guy explodes.
Of course it does. I mean, from the trailer itself, I saw a lot of body explosions. So I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be a lot of that.
Amazing.
And then I'll just
Because they had to amp up from like the craziness that it was in season one.
Yeah.
yeah. And also Stormfront is still in this season.
I mean, she is in the comics.
She's a vegetable in the hospital bed where she's missing all her limbs but one arm.
Oh, okay. I won't ask what happened. I'm just gonna guess.
And also, Maeve is trying to get Butcher to kill Homelander and has supplied Butcher with a new substance that Vought has been developing to sell to the army, which gives people superpowers for 24 hours.
This is what they were hinting at in season two.
Yes. And this is more common in the comics because in the comics in the beginning, the boys just give themselves superpowers
Yeah.
to eat playing fields. So this is
because it was kind of unrealistic when you were thinking like, yeah, you guys are normal people, you're up against soups. Okay.
There's just one more thing I'll say too. Homelander is losing his Homelander was keeping things composed in front of everybody last season while losing his shit behind the scenes. And this season, Homelander's just losing his shit.
He's just becoming unhinged.
He's like, there's one person. It's Homelander's birthday special, and part of his birthday is he saves a person every birthday, and there's a woman who's going to commit suicide. So Homelander goes to save her, and then gives up and just convinces her to jump.
Oh my god!
Nice.
So
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I haven't watched it yet because now we're finishing Stranger Things. So once Stranger Things is done, we're moving to The Boys.
Yeah, and what I said is very minor compared to what's going on this season too. So trust me, there's going to be a lot.
Oh yeah.
And if you've read the comics, have you read the Boys comics, Matt, or no?
Nope.
Have you read them, Vit LeMay, or no?
I dabbled a little bit after the first season, but I haven't continued with it.
I think the show's better than the comics, personally speaking.
Yeah.
But that being said, one of the best arcs of the comics is called Herogasm, and they're adapting Herogasm this season.
Oh yeah. I know about that one.
So
that's gonna be interesting.
yeah, we'll see how they do it because it's gonna be a lot.
Yep.
But,
I'm sure. Who did The Boys again? Was it Alan Moore?
it was Garth Ennis.
Oh yeah, Garth. Yeah, because I'm sure that has been on his mind the entire time when he first read Superman.
So I know a little bit about the Boys' backstory. I just don't want to take up too much time. Pretty much what the Boys is, Ennis broke really big in America with his comic Preacher.
Yeah. It's my brother's favorite.
It's a great comic. It also was very offensive and pissed off a lot of people.
A lot of Christians.
It pushed tons of buttons on a lot of people.
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that was his big success here too. Like that got him more jobs at DC, jobs at Marvel, doing all these things. But one thing about Garth Ennis is he doesn't like superheroes. He hates them. He thinks they're boring. So the only superhero comic he's ever written isn't even a superhero, but he wrote for the Punisher for a while.
Yeah.
That was the only like mainstream quote unquote superhero comic he's done. And even his Punisher run is really gnarly. Like it's really gory, it's really violent.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
So with the boys, he went in with it and he wanted to make fun of superheroes. He wanted to poke at their ridiculousness, and he also wanted to offend more people than he offended with Preacher. So his goal with the boys was just to out Preacher himself.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
And that's why the comics kind of get lost in their own depravity, because he's trying to like be as offensive as he possibly can. And the show tones that down a lot. The show also adds a more like element making fun of corporations. The whole
Yeah,
like
yeah.
being Disney thing. Like there's a background thing in this new season where they go to Votland and there's a stand selling BLM BLTs,
Oh my gosh.
and it's just making fun of like a corporation's cash grab on these social movements and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yep.
So I'd say Matt, stick with the boys because I think once you get past like the lull in season 2, it definitely picks a lot back up.
Maybe I'll give it a try. We
It's
just
just-
started Our Flag Means Death, and that's been a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
maybe after that.
Our Flag Means Death. The first couple episodes are kind of meh, but once Blackbeard gets introduced, the show really picks up a lot. And it just got announced for a season 2.
Right. So I'm excited for that.
And I will say that's my main thing I did this week was I watched The Boys. I also watched Stranger Things, but I can save that for Vit LeMay when she does hers. But Matt, what about you?
So let's see. I know we're going to have on really soon. Sonora, right? We're having Nico Bell and Sonora Taylor on.
Yes, we are.
All right. Well, good, because I read and finished Little Paranoias, and I actually am starting Someone to Share My Nightmares With, which are both Sonora Taylor's. They're 2 short story collections, and Little Paranoias was amazing. It's just a lot of fun. She, the stories all have these cool, like, especially, so she's got really short, not quite Flash stories in there, maybe just above what a Flash story would be considered. But the endings are all a lot of fun. They have these cool little, like, not quite gotcha endings, but fun little twists on stuff. But just her style just is great. I had actually never read any of her short stories before I picked these up at StokerCon, and I'm so happy I did because it's just super good. And I don't have it in front of me, so I cannot pick out specific stories, but I will say it's a great collection. If you haven't picked it up, definitely pick it up. The only other thing I did want to bring up is I finished Matt Cardin's What Demons Say, or What Damien Say, which is his his essays on horror fiction, film, and philosophy. And wow, this is great. It's dense, as you can imagine with Matt Cardin, but dense in a good way. There's just a ton of information in there. He broke it apart. So it's essays that he's written, I think, since the late 90s all the way up to now. And it runs a full gambit. There's a huge section on a lot of his research into Thomas Ligotti. So there's all these different like comparisons on what these stories mean compared to, religion and different philosophies and where Thomas Ligotti was going with things. And it just, you'll all appreciate this, and it's something I didn't notice in Ligotti's stories until reading this. And there's even like a cut interview, or he had reached out to Ligotti through email, something like that. Anyway, long story short was there was a discussion about bathrooms and stories, and Ligotti said that Cardin pointed out, he's like, a number of your stories feature bathrooms at some point or another. And Ligotti just was like, yeah, I think bathrooms are interesting and things happen in there. And I was like, yes, I feel the same way.
You get some of your best stories in bathrooms.
Yeah, yep. So I definitely appreciated reading that and having at least a little of my bathroom humor justified. So that was great. There's a number of his, some of it, it's interesting what he decided to put in here, because like he also put in his, like when he would do an introduction for like a collection or first story. So he's got those in there, which is kind of fun to read. But if you don't have the actual book to whatever he's introducing, it feels a little off. But that's fine. But then when you start getting into his deeper looks he does this amazing look at George Romero's Night of the Living Dead and the different levels of horror in that, specifically about not only body horror, but just what that's doing to us regarding seeing these bodies that are decomposed and kind of forcing us to like witness our own human mortality. And it's really deep stuff because it's Cardin and what he's writing about, but it was just really neat look at what Romero was doing and what that does, what that horror is, that deep level, and even just like the philosophy behind that, and how it's like a good look at just letting ourselves, kind of like that Buddhist philosophy of you're all suffering and we're all gonna die, and so this is your body and just deal with it. So that was really cool. And then obviously he pulls in a lot of religion essays on religion horror. That was interesting. So it's dense, but if you are a Cardin fan, or if you just want to kind of look at kind of horror out of like a nonfiction-y kind of look at stuff, it's definitely worth picking up. Cover is beautiful on it, as of course, if you've seen the cover, it's just great. So it's definitely something worth picking up. I couldn't stop reading it, so it's really good. But yeah, I think that's the main stuff for me.
And Ditlame, what about you?
Well, I've managed to finish one book this week. I started listening to the audio version of Dread Nation.
Ooh.
By Justina Ireland.
Nice.
A couple years ago.
Sorry?
I said I listened to that one a couple years ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm always late to the party, so...
It's really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was an interesting take on zombies and on like colonialism, civil rights movements, and how the whites are treating blacks. Seriously, like it got my blood boiling at many points in the story. And it just made me want to throw stuff or punch stuff or just do something.
That main character was a badass in that story.
You mean Jane?
Yeah.
She's well, there were sometimes, I think that was Justina's intention was to not make her like that likable. She's not like overly likable, you know what I mean? You don't instantly root for her, but but once you get through her plight and see her struggles and see how she handles it, she grows on you.
Yes.
But I also loved Catherine. She was so funny. The clueless quotes best friend. and the role she was forced to play, I felt bad for her there. Like she was forced to play when they went into this kind of like was it in The Walking Dead Roadbury? Like it's like a kind of like a gated community.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And they're forced there to do like labor, and Catherine she's really she's not, I wouldn't say fair skinned, but she's not as black as the others. I think she might have been maybe a mix. I'm not sure. But Jane managed to like trick the survivalist, as they're called there, that she's white and that she's actually a lady, and that Jane was actually just her attendant, the one assigned to protect her from the zombies. So, she managed to play the part as well. But you can see also that she hates it. She's like, you don't understand, to stand there with those white people, telling them how we all look. I just want to grab my fucking sickle and just slash their throats. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. I feel you, girl.
That's amazing.
And it was a little bit slow. Didn't feel like there was a lot of action going on because she basically spent most of the time just building up the world. Telling everyone how this happened, because the dead rose during Gettysburg.
Oh, interesting.
And this is now basically just how they are trying to survive and bring down the zombies, or what they call it in the book. They call them shamblers. And yeah, it wasn't a lot of, like, I expected a little bit more action, because in the blurb she's kind of she's described as she's trained to take down these zombies, and it doesn't happen until the third act.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's a lot slower than I was expecting to.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's because he wanted to set up how the world is, and then because I know there's a sequel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's already out. It's called, I think, Deathless Divided or something like that. And it's funny though, because the cover on that book does not imply that it has anything to do with zombies. It looks like a colonial lesbian romance story. Like they're all wearing petticoats and wearing like these weird, like pretty dresses, and I'm like, this does not describe fighting zombies at all. It's like, what a weird choice for a cover.
Right? Oh, that's funny.
So
I mean, petticoat says blood on it, and she's holding a sword.
That could mean so many things.
Yeah, it could. I mean, she could be fighting pirates for all I want. All I know. So yeah, I'm gonna wait until next month when I get my next credit, so I can start on the sequel. But I enjoyed it, and if you guys want to read more about black writers, black authors, definitely check out Justina Ireland. She's been very busy, so I definitely want to check out her other stuff.
Yeah,
I want to start
awesome.
with.
And I'm halfway through L. Marie Woods' Telecommuting story.
Oh, how is that?
That it's going in directions. That's as far as I can say. This is a psychological horror story. It's short. It's like a novella, and it's about this guy who is just working from home, and he's that's just it. He's just by himself, and loneliness can take a toll on him. And that's when he starts seeing, like, hearing voices and stuff. So we don't really know if this is all in his head or if his house is actually haunted.
Oh, when did that come out?
Not that long ago, I think.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds really good. I like one of my friends on Twitter, she recommended it, and I was like, yeah, I haven't actually read anything by L. Marie Wood, so I want to check it out. So I just bought it and I started reading it, and I'm hoping to finish it maybe today or tomorrow.
So it's like a novella.
Yeah, it's like it's about 190 pages, I think, or something like that, or 119.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not so bad. But
that
given that I'm
cool.
such a slow reader, it's perfect for me.
Yeah.
And you said you're working on Stranger Things this season?
Yes, I finished the Book of Boba Fett, and then we moved on to the Stranger Things.
What do you think of the Stranger Things season?
What can I say?
That good?
Well, the thing is,
the highs are really high and the lows are really low.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that's a good description. I mean, people have been hyping it up a lot.
It's Stranger Things. Season 3, everyone said was amazing, and I hated it.
Yeah. And I'm watching season 4, and I'm like, oh yeah, I mean, there's horror in it, okay, sure, but I'm not grossed out. I'm not like, oh, what the fuck?
Would you expect Stranger Things to gross you out though, LeMay?
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it plays it too safe. Like
yeah. I think that's the thing.
It veers the most into horror than the previous seasons have.
Yeah.
But I'd say, like, people that were grossed out by like the imagery are people who don't normally watch horror or consume horror the way we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
that's how I've been feeling.
It's considered tame. But if you were like a normal person or a normie, as they say,
yeah,
I could see it affecting you a bit differently.
Yeah. There's this guy at work who started watching it, and he just, he hyped it really loud, and he just said like, I didn't know they went so far with it. It's so rough. It's so like so much horror, and I'm like, oh really? And then I watched it, I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've seen worse. I mean, like I was really grossed out by the ice scene in Brightburn. I'm like, I want that in Stranger Things. Give me that.
See, the thing is, though, if you go in with those expectations, you're always going to be disappointed.
I know. I really need to take Zendaya's advice from No Way Home. Keep
Yeah,
expectations
right.
low.
And like, the thing is, it's like, I think some part like, so I hated season 3 a lot, and I still think the Russia stuff is stupid. Like, I still don't like the Russia stuff. Like that can go. I don't care about it. I do think the central narrative in this season is a lot more compelling than last season.
Yeah.
And I think like I won't spoil anything, but I think episode 4, especially the end of episode 4, was like peak Stranger Things in like a good way.
Okay, I haven't finished episode 4, so.
Okay, I won't. Like I said, I won't spoil, but I think like the more you stick with it, the season, the more like it kind of comes together.
Yeah.
The beginning is kind of weird, but I do think it works together a lot better as it goes. But same with everything. Like when everyone just hypes something up, you're gonna get disappointed with it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
I binged it in one day just to avoid all the hype. I knew that, like,
that's a good plan.
I knew that like if I didn't watch it and the hype just got to me, then like I wouldn't enjoy it as much. But at the same time, I watched it, so that became part of the hype. And then it's like that's also not a great thing either.
Yeah. I remember when Paranormal Activity was all the rage, and my older brother, he's 6 years older than me, and he's into horror like I am. And he just told me that he couldn't sleep after watching that movie. He was like so fucking scared. And I was like, oh, if that movie scares my older brother, I mean, that is worth a watch. And I watched it, and I wanted to throw stuff at the TV. I was so bored. It was so bad. I was like, how were you scared? Were you high?
You mean endless shots of people sleeping in beds with night vision isn't scary to you, Villemay?
No. No.
Jump scares aren't scary.
No. They're cheap shots.
Yeah.
Can I share a really funny movie experience?
Yes.
That's the story. So have you both seen The Conjuring?
Yeah.
No. I have not.
So
but that's okay. You can.
There's a part in the movie where they play a version of hide and seek called Hide and Clap.
Oh yeah.
And it ends in a jump scare because it's The Conjuring.
Yeah.
But like after like the person's hiding, you see a pair of hands come out of the darkness and just goes, and then like the person screams, and then it's a jump scare. Then it goes into like a comedy scene to like ease the tension of everything.
Jeez.
And while this is happening, my friend Marty goes to my friend Megan and just goes, and Megan screams at the top of her lungs, and the entire theater laughed.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like, yeah, don't believe the hype.
Yeah. Honestly, general rule of thumb, and this I go with this is like never believe the hype. Nothing's ever going to live up to the hype.
Yeah.
I've learned this from years of playing video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I've learned this from Spider-Man 3.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, they did put the Sandman in No Way Home, and he was so much better there than Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, we didn't get emo dancing Peter Parker though. That was a shame.
No.
That was a shame.
Because to him that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, this was like, nope.
It's like, oh, well, I'm sorry, I was affected by the spell as well, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was one joy of seeing other Spider-Man was that he didn't have to tell them about his dance moves.
Yep.
Well, it's like before we get into the story, have you guys seen Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness?
Not
Yes.
yet. I haven't gone to the movies. I need to go to the
Oh.
movies.
I won't spoil it for you, LeMay, don't worry. But a lot of people that one are like, this movie is so shocking.
I
It's
know.
going horror. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, there's horror elements.
Yeah.
It's just like Stranger Things. Like, you're never gonna get more than like a subtle creepy moment.
Yeah.
Or like, you're never gonna get more than just like a quick shock. And they're
Yeah.
gonna play it safe because they're trying to appeal to everybody.
Yeah. The kids also.
If Stranger Things wanted to make a horror, turn it into a full horror show and appeal to the horror crowd, they could. They 100%.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think it could be great, but they're going to be limiting their audience, and they're trying to write a show that appeals to everybody, and that means having to dial back some things, but also means that no person's going to see all those bones breaking and the jaw breaking scene, and they're going to be like, "Oh my god, that's so disturbing." And I'm just like, I watched a movie where a guy got his eyeball cut out, and the pus like came out of the behind the eyeball.
Yeah. We can't all have what we love.
No.
Exactly. So like, I've gone to a habit of like tampering expectations based around what I'm watching, and just kind of like comparing it to like the previous season of that show. Or sometimes the show makes me angry. Like I'll still never forgive Yellow Jackets. That show made me so fucking angry.
I haven't seen that either.
I haven't seen that either, so I know what to expect, I guess.
It starts off really good, and the last 2 episodes ruin it.
That's lame.
But yeah, no, I think like as anything, tamper expectations, except if you're reading To Be Devoured by Sarah Tantlinger, because
very nice.
This novella lives up to every expectation you could have for it.
Oh yeah, and more.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and more.
Like, yeah, if you didn't even have any expectations, we just went through this completely blindly, you would still have been satisfied.
Yeah.
So I just have one question for you, Let before we get into it. And yes, we're gonna go full spoilers. Were you surprised at the Dr. Fawning reveal, or are you like,
no, I expected it. It's like
so funny.
like immediately I was like, you're going to a no, you're not going, honey. You are so unhinged. It's like you like this. It's been a long time since you didn't go. So nope.
Oh man, my first read through, I'm embarrassingly gonna say it took me a lot longer to figure that one out.
I mean, you can basically see it. You can basically see the hints at the beginning of the page, like something is dead over there. I'm like, yeah, that's Dr. Fawning.
Yeah, that took me a bit to like pick that up. Now this time, because I reread it, I was like, I knew what I was looking for, and I figured that part out. But the first time through, I was just like, oh, I don't know, it's the woods, and there's dead animals, and there's a farm. It's fine. And then yeah, I think it took a really long time to go, oh, Dr. Fawning's not a human.
Yeah. So this is a disturbing little novella.
Oh yes.
About our character Andy and
yeah.
her lover Luna.
Yep.
Who Andy has, I guess, seduced her from her ex-husband.
Yeah. She claims she loves her, but this is a very unhealthy obsession.
Yes, I like, and so that's something I picked up again rereading it. Like I kind of, it's funny. Because I remember what happens, but then when just when I got into the first page, like it all came rushing back, and I remembered everything, and so like I could like start paying attention a little bit more, and yeah, you were right. This relationship was right from the start. Just even some of the descriptions of like what her like stuff that she has to deal with, and then what Luna kind of like puts up with, besides all the craziness, like violent and bloody stuff. But you're like, man, this does not seem like a healthy relationship, even without blood.
Yeah.
You mean you don't want your wife to make you a knitting of dead moths?
I mean, I would if that woman shared the same interests, then they could be
Yeah.
gross together.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
since she forgot, she didn't get the hint that
Yeah.
Luna is anything like that, then no.
Yes. Oh, I know.
Luna's, I hate to say this, but Luna's normal.
Yeah, she's a bit of a yeah. I would think so.
I
Just
think
see.
Luna's normal, and she's just trying to like find her identity, especially with
Yeah.
like her marriage failing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's just trying to
Yes.
find a place to be.
Yeah, that's it. And she
Um.
unfortunately goes into the hands of an unhinged psychopath.
Who,
Well, and
Which we
that's
all
like
do at some point in our lives, I guess.
who drives into the woods and has a meeting with Dr. Fawning every day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's one of the things too that like you could kind of like I picked up, because I'm apparently a little bit slower on uptake for some things, but it's this interesting look because like Luna, like we said, failing marriage. So she's going to basically the first person outside of this marriage. And it just so happens that Andy's crazy pants. And
Even her ex-husband is like, this woman's crazy.
yeah, and so like, but she's clinging on because she's hoping all these things like that this was the right choice, and so that's like even that like horror that Sarah put in here of just like I'm trying so hard to make this work. I will deal with your week-long disappearances and all of these different things, and you going to having like this crazy family history, but yeah, butterfly wings and drinking of blood is just a step too far.
I also just loved how Sarah put in the story, because usually it is like this when a woman leaves a guy in a marriage, the guy will immediately just go, yeah, she's crazy, she's just crazy.
Yeah.
Or just say like the person says that she left him for, like, why'd you leave me for that crazy person? And then she kind of twists it around and is like, yeah, this actually happened. So you're sitting there and you're like, wait, so what am I supposed to believe now?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That
She just rammed that dagger in your thigh and she twisted it.
a dagger or wine opener.
Yes, wine over. Oh God.
God.
Such a like a good random thing to use.
Right.
Back when we first read this story, how much this grossed Mike out.
Yeah, there's definitely a parts that Mike did not like. I mean, he loved it, but I'll say grossed him out. That's probably the better word.
Yeah. No,
I always think that if a story grosses you out, then it's a good fucking story.
Yeah. Well, and I think even to go back to what I was saying at the beginning about Dr. Fawning, but so like Dr. Fawning, and then even I think I knew that Luna was missing when they're like, well, we can't get a hold of her because there's a scene, and I know we're jumping all over the place for listeners, but there's a scene where there's the bathroom scene and Luna disappears, and then you're getting all these calls, and just to talk about how great Sarah is, the first read through it took me again a minute to realize, oh no, Luna's like gone.
Yeah.
And our main character Andy had definitely something to do with that.
And also just like with her, you can't really describe her. Well, see, it's not described in the story, but I can't even put a finger on it because I'm not like I haven't majored in psychology or anything like that. But like the character Andy also managed to, in her delusion, to convince herself that she had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoil for audience though, she had everything to do with it.
Yep.
Everything.
Yep.
I wasn't sure, and I still couldn't even second read through. I can't quite understand her where she got this idea with the vultures and wanting to be a part of them. And rereading it, I still couldn't quite grasp what that connection was.
I think it's just something that she basically saw all her life because this is a house that she grew up in.
Okay.
and not feeling the connection with her family. This probably was the only thing that she felt connected to.
I
Oh,
also see it as kind of like
She is
she
a
has,
vulture herself.
yeah,
yeah.
and she also has like an emptiness inside that she's
Yeah.
trying to fill.
Well,
Literally.
a cemetery. We'll say that.
Yeah. I mean, like also inside her, like she watching the vultures, growing up like how she does. She's obsessed with this idea of life and death, and like life bringing anew, and like the general circle of life.
Okay.
And vultures are kind of like the end of that. Like they continue their lives at the expense of the death of somebody else or something else.
Ah, that makes sense because there are a lot of that like it kind of goes off into these little thought processes of vultures not caring about the body and we're all dead and we all kind of support the system by being eaten and everything like that. That makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's what
I just I love the lyrical prose that she brought into the story as well.
yeah.
Just like
Amazing.
thinking, she's so good, and just especially the imagery with this, like you said, the cemetery in my head, and I'm like, yeah, that makes so much sense. I am
Yeah.
sure we have a lot of them. We all have them.
Yeah. Just so in
I
like
have a tomb.
I would
I have a pyramid.
this like tragic history. Yeah. It's like sorry, I was just like thinking about that. Like the fact that like her brother died.
Yeah.
And then her
That
parents
was tragic. That was so tragic.
Yeah.
It's like that was a gut punch.
Oh god, just that description of the icicles in the eyes and everything.
Honestly, Sarah has a story that's like the day the clouds left us about like global warming. And there's a whole thing of that where like the clouds are disappearing. And she's describing like a child's having his like skin burned off because the clouds can't protect us from the sun anymore.
Wait,
Oh my
wasn't it?
God.
It was in Field Notes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I need to read that one. Like, and I'm like immediately like, oh, the Sarah stuff. Give me.
There's a dead child? Fuck yes.
On board.
I
Fuck
hate
them
that
kids.
stuff. Come
Fuck
on, I really
them
do.
kids.
But I still love reading it because it's a taboo thing for a lot of people.
Right? It is.
I'm just trying to be funny.
I mean, and so is a lot of things in this book as well. A lot of. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Those of you who have read this, have read To Be Devoured, or haven't, but still want to, but still spoilers. There's this particular scene that not a lot of people will enjoy.
Yeah.
Is that when Andy's going down on Luna and just
Yep.
drinking her menstruation blood?
Yep.
I think Luna has the most realistic reaction to that happening.
Yes.
Anything else in the story?
Yes.
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 100%. You were like,
I
yes,
was
Luna.
I was so grossed out. I was like, okay. I mean, and then I kept like reasoning myself like, I mean, people have sex when women are the menses. I mean, some people don't find that gross, but I would fucking draw the line at drinking it.
Oh God. When
Like
she's cleaning her
smearing,
fingers.
yeah, like smearing your teeth with it. I'm like, oh no, 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 no.
Well, I like how that's followed by her eating a piglet alive.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh,
And
all
she
of that.
picks up the bones. And
Yeah.
it's,
That
what the fuck is
was
wrong with
also
you?
so gross. I was like, my stomach churned at that scene. I was
Yeah,
like,
that-
yeah, I almost like, I'm calling this a night, and I need something happy.
Yes. Right. I must have blocked that scene out because once I got to that scene again, I was like, oh, that's right. Oh no. Oh wait, she's going in the bathroom and digging in the garbage can. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
there's the bloody tampon.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that too. Oh God, that reminded me, and I don't know if listeners have ever read the book. I haven't, but I have like extensively read through so many reviews of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, God. I was wondering about when you brought that up.
And there is a
Ew.
scene in 50 Shades of Grey where Christian, the selfless lover that he is, and I say that dripping with sarcasm, um, he wants to have sex with Anna, and she kind of refuses because she's on her period, and he doesn't take no for an answer because that's what all people do in a healthy relationship. And he goes down on her and he fucking pulls the tampon out of her.
Oh, God.
If anyone did that to me, I would kick him.
Yes.
First in the nuts, repeatedly, and then roll him out, and then throw the tampon on his face. And what really I was like, okay, that's gross. But there were so many people who thought that was so hot, and I'm like, no, you guys have issues.
Yes. Well, then we have the book for you, To Be Devoured.
Yeah. Now I can definitely recommend this book to those who love 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like, hey, you want to read a good lover story?
Yes.
Check out To Be Devoured.
Oh my God. I just think it's so funny. She gives Luna the moth wings and she freaks out. But then she's like, maybe Luna will be into this.
Yeah.
No.
It's like
I
best
think
reasoning
she was
ever.
like, I don't think she was like, Luna's gonna be into this. I think like once the blood got involved, she just couldn't help herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she just lost control.
Just got like a hankering for some period blood. As we all do at some point in our lives, I guess.
Once in a while, it just happens.
That menstruation station,
Yeah.
Menstruation station.
Ugh.
Oh God. Just a big bowl. I just want a big bowl of it.
Yeah.
But like that I think that's the most shocking scene in this entire story.
Yes.
The reveal of Dr. Fawning, even if you don't realize it like from the beginning, just seeing like the deer heads strung up among the trees.
and with maggots, writhing out of the eyes and body, I was like,
And like Malik is there, and Malik is like, "What the fuck is going on?"
having the most normal reaction ever. I love that.
Oh my gosh. And I love Andy's just like, it's fine. I see her all the time. She's okay.
And he and her like scolding him like, hey, this is a private session.
Yeah.
Would you mind? I was like,
Oh my
honey,
gosh.
I mean, honey.
Oh God. Just like, and the reveal is great. And like, it totally, for everybody that probably will get it the first go around instead of me, but like the perfect like setup of Dr. Fawning always wears these brown suits, and it sounds she's got all these smells that are like of the forest and
the dewy eyes.
Yeah, the first read through, I was like, oh, that's a good choice.
And she always listens.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
never speaks.
Responds whispers.
Yeah.
Oh, even like once you get a little bit further in, she's like, oh yeah, her suit's dirty now. And you're like,
Yeah, and then the hints keep on coming. Also with like, oh, there's like someone left the garbage here, and I'm like, no, honey. It's like you're standing in front of a rotting corpse.
Like, I noticed it more on this reread. Every time Andy visits Dr. Fawning, the deers describe more decomposed every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it just like slowly builds that like Dr. Fawning's a dead deer.
And you also, if you don't get it like the first try like I do, like the name is also a really good hint.
Yeah.
Because fawn.
Yeah.
But it's also like it's a good play on words because it could be like it sounds like an actual last name.
Yeah.
But
it's also fawn.
But also it also hints to her to Andy's obsession with Luna because fawning over someone.
Oh, I like that.
Honestly, Sarah's are really good at play on words.
She really is. Like, damn, I definitely wanna get her like poetry collection.
Yes.
I want
was-
to. Have you read the H.H. Holmes one?
I've read the H.H. Holmes one.
It's good,
yes.
right?
It is fantastic.
Okay, I need that one.
Yeah.
Might go
Black
to Amazon later.
Yeah, it's good. We had her on a long time ago for the H.H. Holmes for the
G.
the game. So yeah, they did a whole H.H. Holmes game and everything like that, and it was really cool. But that again, second read through, it's way more obvious for me than the first read through. I was like, oh, that makes so much sense, and it's right in front of my face, and I did not pick up on that.
I think the only twist for me, which actually caught me by surprise, was Luna's survival.
Yeah.
I immediately thought that she had killed her and probably eaten her already.
Yes.
But apparently she just wanted to save her and just like, I'll take a little morsel here and there on her thigh. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I'm just gonna sew wings on you.
I did enjoy her butchering her neighbor with an axe. That was fun.
Damn, that was brutal.
I was just thinking that was like a great action scene. That was a great tense scene of her. For the listeners, she breaks into her neighbor's farm to get more pigs, and then the farmer comes and is gonna shoot her but doesn't, and then it's just this great action she got.
It was a lot. Yeah, it had a lot of tension in it, and then the aftermath was so brutal.
Yeah.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that she didn't feast on him as well.
I know. Maybe that was a plan for the later.
True.
If she would survive.
Well, she did rationalize that she had it as an offering for the vulture, so they would welcome her in their group.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that ending too. Yes. Oh, their choice to die is I'm just gonna gouge myself on this dead deer.
Yep. It was though. To be honest, that was like the best ending.
Yes, it worked.
Because you kind of just knew that she would never be able to function in a normal society.
No.
I want more books by Sarah. Like her poetry collections are nice, but like she's such a wonderful writer that like I want more like novellas from her.
I agree.
Definitely. And any publisher needs to pick this up.
Yes, they need to pick it up again. People need to read it.
Or she needs to put a collection and include this in the collection. Like,
oh yeah, that's a good idea.
This needs to be read. It needs to be celebrated.
Yes.
And I think it's one of the more underrated novellas to come out of the newer horror generation.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of love for it when she kind of said that it was going out of print, but like before that, I didn't hear too much about it. So hopefully, if people do need to pick it up for sure.
Yeah, they definitely need to. Like, if you're listening, just pick it up and read it, and you won't be disappointed. You'll be grossed out, but you'll be disappointed.
Yes.
And honestly, it's just like it's a really great novella.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the perfect length, also.
Yeah, I finished it in a day this week, so it's like just because it hooks you. Even reading it the second time, I was still like, I need to know what happens.
I legit reread it this morning before the podcast.
Nice. What the hell?
An hour. I was done.
Nice.
Well, no, this is like it's like a weekend read. Like you can read it in like one or two sittings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually
outside in the woods.
It's hard to put down. You can string up a deer.
Yeah.
Get the whole like immersive element in there. Maybe some vultures will fly by.
Yeah.
If not, the seagulls are always there. They can help out.
Maybe you can find a used tampon somewhere nearby.
Please don't. No. Leave that.
Yeah, just leave that one be. Oh my gosh. I like the seagull thing though. Just watch out, they'll poke your knees.
Yeah, those fucking seagulls are brutal. But no, like honestly, this is just a really great book, and I'm sad it's going out of print, but I'm excited for its future.
Yeah.
Me too.
I did just find I'm on the Amazon page and I did find the best 1-star review of this book.
Oh
What?
God.
Tell
The
us.
title is just lesbian sex.
Oh.
And then it
Are you
says-
fucking kidding me?
And then it says lesbian sex plus horror is just not my bag. 1 star.
Oh, boo.
Sure. If it's not his bag, then sure, fine. That's fine. As long as he didn't write anything else down. But it's like, you can't please everyone, I guess.
I guess not. They're just lame.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, it's Pride Month, and you have to make it in a horror gay as fuck.
Yes.
Honestly, like it's Pride Month. I think it's worthy to celebrate like queer horror fiction.
Oh yeah.
We should be celebrating the like queer writers. We should be celebrating horror that is focused on different identities.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like this is a really great queer horror novella.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I would agree.
And speaking of, well, actually, this is a bit different, but
I don't know about this transition.
yeah, transition sucks. I'll just go talk to Dr. Fawning later and apologize for my misdeed.
There you go.
She'll listen. She'll listen.
She always listens.
We're going to be having Sonora Taylor and Nico Bell on next week to discuss some stories of Diet Riot.
Yay!
Oh, yeah, I'm excited.
Me too.
I'm looking forward to reading this anthology. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And like, I don't know, I feel it's good to have stories that cover different experiences. And especially with the idea of Diet Riot, like a lot of stories fall into like fat phobia pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, if anyone's ever read a Stephen King book,
Yeah. Just thinking there.
it's the worst like fat people like ever.
Oh God.
But it's funny because like he writes it so badly that like it's kind of comical.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
what was it in It? I forget which character it is in It, but like he's described as like being obese at like 215 pounds.
Yeah.
He wears like a hoodie to cover like his
Oh,
like
God.
really big body, and I'm like 215 pounds is not what you would be.
Yeah. It's like, come on, Stephen King.
Yeah. I mean, I'm currently playing like Detroit Become Human. I'm like, there's not a lot of variety here. It's like there's not a lot of variety body wise.
Yeah.
How do you love the very on the nose civil rights movement aspects with Detroit Become Human?
Yeah.
This like this game is giving me so many conflicted feelings because I fucking hate robots. Like I am under the impression ever since Terminator Judgment Day traumatized me that they will take over and they will kill us all. But then they look like us and they have feelings. I'm like, oh, I don't know what to feel now. Should I kill the android or should I stay with them?
Oh my gosh.
Some part of that game that just felt so on the nose, where it's like the robots have a special area on the bus.
Yep.
The robots are not allowed in specific areas.
Yep.
Oh wow.
It just felt very on the nose in like a few parts.
Yep. So much.
Yeah.
And if it isn't, it's really just gonna bang you on the nose with it.
Yeah. One thing I will say about that game though is it does have some really good bits in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying it.
I like how you got off track at the end, but
Yeah.
I'm also really excited for us to talk about Diet Riot and introduce these stories to our audience next week.
Definitely.
Yes.
And if you're a listener, be sure to give us some reviews on the different platforms we are. Like, comment, spread the abyss around because we want to consume all. And Vitlame, where can our listeners get in touch with you?
They can get in touch with me on Twitter at VitaminAS. And I'm kind of on hiatus with the other social media, so we'll just leave it at that.
All right. And Matt, what about you?
I am on Twitter at BrandenburgDM.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Rudy53088. And be sure to give the Abyss a follow with @IntoStaring. And this is Richard Gerlach talking to Dr. Fawning. 1 second, she's whispering. Okay, keep staring.